in elephant country for copper porphyry discoveries.
This is an absolute pleasure to present what I think is a substantial new discovery in a story that a lot of people thought would unfold in a different direction. If you look at the history of Barksdale, the real focus of the company for the better part of the first 6 or 7 years was the extension of the Taylor deposit, where the Taylor deposit that S32 has next door comes onto our ground. You know, the dream was that we have the extension of that deposit, and we probably still do, but the focus has shifted dramatically here in the past couple of years. So to fast forward, this is an absolutely astounding a porphyry copper system that is in the middle of this district, and it really explains a lot about the district. I think we're starting to see some geology unfold that most operators in the past had no idea about. It really has opened our eyes. I think we're starting to see, we'll call it a mineralizing system. I often refer to mothership in terms of porphyries, and I think we're finding a new mothership in this district. A lot of folks have studied this district inside and out. Did they ever find the smoking gun that caused all this, the mineralization that we see? The Peak deposit, South 32's Taylor deposit. Maybe we found it. Okay, so this is very exciting. These results that we've just received are the beginning of a series of results we anticipate putting out over the next few weeks as we get more data in. But I think it tells us we are onto something very big.
And what's really exciting about this project is that we've really only touched the surface. If you think about this chalcocite zone and the triple C target that sits within that zone, which is really the drilling that we've sort of delineated at this area right now. It's looking about 600 meters in strike length and 650 meters stepping to the north. And we see the same type of favorable geology, which is associated with sulfide mineralization. And it's the same type of geology that we're seeing in the core chips. And so when you start to think about this footprint and how big it can get, it's exciting to think that, we've now defined this area, and in the next batch of holes, we plan to step out 600 meters to the west. So effectively, we'll have this sort of 1.2 kilometer strike length, a step out to the north with all of this favorable geology that we have seen in the rock chips, which have been associated with sulfide mineralization. As global copper grades decline, and these new discoveries become, they're deeper, and some that are quite capital intensive, that jurisdiction that you're in becomes significantly important. Where we are, we're in elephant country for copper porphyry discoveries. Arizona itself accounts for almost 70% of United States total copper production. And when you look at the property package that we have, we're in a region that we see, almost $4 billion of infrastructure being spent next door, and these massive, 30-year plus mine lives that they have next door. And mineralization doesn't just stop across a border that's on surface. It continues underground. And we do know from historic drilling that there is that mineralization from the other side of our border on South 32 continues onto our property. So while that might be deeper, when I look at Triple C, to me, it's exciting because this starts right near surface, and these are extremely favorable grades that we're seeing right from surface. So you start to get into that environment where you're now delineating what could potentially be something very meaningful, and we're just at the beginning stages of delineating the Triple C target.
Our leapfrog model showed a very large, low-grade copper anomaly, which consisted of a copper sulfide called chalcocite. And so we happily embarked on this exploration errand looking for this low-grade copper. Fortunately for us, it turned out that the beast that we were drilling was very, very different. We, in fact, on the first hole that we drilled, we encountered high-grade primary copper sulfides, mostly chalcopyrite, starting at 20 feet below surface. Now, in my business, that's pretty much a surface deposit, and many believe that you don't find surface deposits anymore, and here we are sitting on a surface deposit. So we have encountered this copper deposit which is up to 1,000 meters across and over 1,000 meters deep. We have averaged the grades to give broad zones, but within those zones are very high grade zones that are 10 and 20 meters of greater than 1%, and we actually have a zone of copper that of 3 meters of almost 3%. So this is important because when you're developing certain kinds of pit mine, you could look at open pit, you could look at underground, and this is an area where obviously South 32 has an underground mine next door. Will they be looking to try and develop the copper deposit next door because it's shallower and only a few hundred meters away? And those are things that while we're exploring, we keep in our mind. Every place we go, we're drilling into this target, it keeps generating these copper sulfides, and it is amazing. And that's what makes Sunnyside now so exciting, is that we've seen it, we're starting to understand it, now we have to drill it.
So we have two zones beneath where we're currently drilling, broad zones of moderate grades, 274 meters of 0.44% copper. But that's an average grade. There are zones that are much higher than that within those intervals. You don't get the sense of a huge porphyry until you drill down into it. We said, okay, let's see what's really there. What we're seeing, huge intervals of copper mineralization in these holes. The first hole, 454 meters of nearly 1/3% copper. Just amazing grades. Second hole, two intervals of nearly 1% copper. The third hole, you have 53 meters of 0.6% copper with silver credits. All these have silver credits, lead credits, and zinc credits. So it's not just copper. I mean, we're extremely excited to be able to show that, yes, the old drilling that was recommended to be followed up with our follow-up is now showing that this is an important area, and this is likely going to be a very important deposit going forward as we complete further drilling.
At Sunnyside, we're just beginning to demonstrate the potential of the project. And I think that right now, being able to define a near surface discovery for copper mineralization in one of the best jurisdictions on the globe, and in Arizona specifically, an elephant country for copper discoveries and porphyries, I think that we're just starting to touch the surface here on the upside of Triple C and Sunnyside. So stay tuned for more drill results.